Peace and wellness, family. I hope that y'all are well and happy and whole and all that good stuff. Y'all, it is time for us to get into our upcoming full moon in Pisces with a total lunar eclipse. For those of you who are new here, I am the Queen Poe, and the intention for this video is for us to discuss the meaning of this full moon in Pisces total lunar eclipse planetary alignment. We're going to discuss how it may impact our energy, and we'll identify some practices that we can implement to utilize all of this energy for our wellness. Shout out to the wellness community, butterflies in the sky. I see y'all in the chat. I love y'all dearly. Thank you for always showing up and showing love. Y'all, let me tell you, I'm not going to take long with no life update or anything like that. Life has been great. Okay. I'm not going to take long to get into it simply because there are so many different layers with this full moon and lunar eclipse energy. And I want to take my time with flowing through all of the different layers of energy, as well as some things that we need to be fully aware of and what we need to be doing for our wellness during this time. I think that it's important for us to recognize that the shadow period for this full moon starts tomorrow, September 4th. Shout out to Beyonce. Okay. It is also her 44th, I think, her 44th birthday on September 4th, right? So shout out to her. But the shadow period for this full moon and total lunar eclipse starts tomorrow, September 4th, and will last until September 10th, right? So I want us to be fully aware of what we need to be doing during this time, because I'm going to tell you right now, just in case it's happening right now, you need to get up and go do it. You will absolutely 1000% want to make some moon water with this full blood moon and total lunar eclipse energy. And you want to make this full moon water, this blood moon water, this lunar eclipse water with some storm water if you can gather it. So if it is raining in your area, if it is storming in your area, if it's going to be a hurricane in your area, especially, you need to collect that water between now and the 7th so you can use that storm water to make your full moon, blood moon, lunar eclipse water. Okay, so I wanted to start with that, and I'll explain what all of the energy of that moon water will be. But if it's raining right now, get up and go put a jar outside and collect some of that rain water, because you can use that for your moon water and you will want to. Now, without further ado, y'all, let's just get right into it, because like I said, we are going to be talking about the things right now. First and foremost, let me just say, if you want to join the wellness community, look right here at the scroll at the bottom of the screen. Join the wellness community, thequeenpoe.com. It's only $5 a month. Right now, our book of the month is Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty, but we're transitioning. We're on the last chapter of that. We'll finish that up on Saturday. And next week, we're going to start our September book of the month, which is going to be Spirits Come from Water, which is all about African spirituality, ancestor veneration. Our theme for this month. Every month we set an intention, and our intention and theme for this month is Soulfully Selfish September, where we are talking about the value of balancing, prioritizing yourself, and the different roles you play in other people's life, and how to elevate in your passion as you prioritize yourself. So all of our book club listening sessions and family meetings and our Sunday film watch parties and all the things, our family conversations will be centered around elevating in your passion and what it takes to execute to get to the next level of your passion. So if you want to join the tribe, feel free to do that. Join us for Soulfully Selfish September. And y'all know next month is Hoodoo Heritage Month, and we're going to be getting into the things, okay? I ain't even going to say that. I ain't even going to say that. I'm going to keep that to myself, and I'm going to meditate on it. I ain't even going to say that on the live, because I got in my mind, a little like course class situation that I want to do for the tribe. But I'm trying to decide, do I want to do it this month or save it for Hoodoo Heritage Month? But I got to let me meditate on it. But go ahead and join the tribe, y'all. Now, without further ado, let's just get right into it. So, full moons are all about reflecting, revealing, and releasing. And Pisces is a mutable water sign that is ruled by Neptune. And Neptune is our planet of dreams and spirituality, right? When we're talking about Pisces energy, we are talking about super intuitive energy. Pisces are naturally intuitive. They naturally have a keen ability to flow between physical and spirit realm very easily. They are usually super strong dreamers and have a high sense of clairvoyance. They usually have the gift of sight and can tap in and tune in very easily. Pisces are also known for being prayer warriors, right? It's very easy for Pisces to connect with spirit realm energy. So when we have full moons in Pisces, that energy of the divine feminine, that energy of intuition, that energy of intercession, and that energy of mediumship and connecting between physical and spirit realm is intensified for everyone. For everyone, that energy is intensified. So don't be surprised if your intuition starts speaking to you much louder than it normally does. Also, don't be surprised if you find yourself having an increase in spiritual communication, getting some spiritual visitation. I was telling the community yesterday that you will start to notice that, especially when it comes to clairaudience, you're going to start hearing signs that spirit is present a lot more, right? And I'm talking about in the form of ringing in the ears, ringing bells, like randomly feeling or hearing that there's a bell ringing, right? I told the community, I also advised them to get some wind chimes. And but what I want you to do is I want you to hang the wind chime either over your bed or over the threshold of your bedroom door, right? And you will know that spirit is present when the wind chime that is in your home, the wind is not blowing it, but you will know spirit is present because spirit is going to be communicating a lot through chimes, through vibration, through that type of like clairaudience sounds energy. That will be a lot of your signs that spirit is present. So if for those who struggle to kind of identify that, an easy way to do that is having that chime inside of your home. Also, this is the time where you may want to purchase a big bell if you don't have one, right? An ancestor bell, and keep it on your ancestor altar. And a good way to clear the energy of your home and welcome spirit into your home is to walk around your house ringing that bell. Make sure that you have the door open. Make sure you have your smoke bowl going or your smudge bowl going, and make sure that you are walking from corner to corner, front to back of the home, back to front of the home, just ringing that bell and welcoming spirit in. This is the sound. This is the sound, the ringing of the bells, the chimes. This is the sound energy, the clairaudience that spirit will give you to let you know that they are present, right? Now, the thing about full moon energy is full moons is the full moon is in alignment with the Orisha Yemoja, right? And this full moon peaks on September 7th, which is Yemoja Feast Day. Remember, I said there are layers of this energy with this full moon specifically, right? Because we have this Pisces energy, we have that Neptune energy. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, intensifying the intuition, intensifying the spirituality. But this energy will be even more intense because the ruler of the full moon, Yemoja, her feast day is September 7th, which is the day that this full moon peaks in Pisces. So again, elevating that intuitive, spiritual, dream like energy. Now, the beautiful thing about that is a lot of you may be feel called to the water because Pisces is a mutable water sign. Yemoja is the keeper of the full moon. This is her feast day. She is also her resting place, right? Her safe space is at the water, specifically at the surface of the ocean, the top of the ocean, right? So you may find yourself feeling called to water. This is also why I said you want to collect some water during this time, right? And when I say collect some water, I'm talking about that storm water, that rain water, that hurricane water. And also you want to turn that in, manifest that into moon water, right? Now, the beautiful thing about this Yemoja energy is that Yemoja is the divine mother, right? She is known as the mother of the Orisha. So she is the mother energy of that divine feminine feminine energy, right? So that feeling, that desire to nurture will also be elevated. The desire to take care of self and take care of others will also be elevated. So don't be surprised if during this time you find yourself not only wanting to mother and nurture other people, but also wanting to mother and nurture yourself, take better care of yourself. And this is why this is in full alignment with the wellness community intention of the month, which is Soulfully Selfish September, right? Because you may find that you have the desire to deeply nurture yourself, to prioritize your own wellness. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be super important. And this will be the challenge during this time. The challenge for everybody is going to be finding the balance between grounding yourself in reality and being elevated in spirit realm, because Yemoja, the keeper of the full moon, is also known as a daydreamer. She's also known as a master manifestor, a visioner. She used to be able to see her children and know what was to come for them. She had the gift of sight, right? So once again, the gift of sight, the gift of clairvoyance will be elevated for a lot of people, but also not just being able to see what's to come for others, but also being able to see what's coming for self. Don't be surprised if you find yourself kind of drifting off and daydreaming a lot, right? So that's why I said for a lot of people, the difficulty for you during this time is going to be finding that balance between staying grounded in reality and going off into your spiritual dream world. Don't be surprised if you find yourself kind of disassociating a lot. If you find yourself kind of having astral projection and out of body experiences, and you're not even trying, right? Just once again, feeling that a bit of like disconnect from physical, but you will have to try to remain grounded in reality. And the reason why this may be one of your challenges when it comes to finding that balance between the physical and the spirit is because opposing this full moon in Pisces, we have the sun, which is our connection between our highest divine self, also known as our Ori, and the highest divine source. And we also have Mercury, our planet of communication, transportation, personal technology, and agreements, opposing this full moon in Pisces. Again, Pisces is ruled by Neptune. Pisces is all about spirit realm, dream realm, and Virgo, which is which is where the sun and Mercury will be placed, opposing this full moon. Virgo energy is all about that earth, that grounding energy, being very structured, being very connected. Anytime we have a opposition, you will feel like it's difficult to kind of balance the scales, right? When you think about oppositions, think about two scales, opposing sides trying to find balance. Usually this opposition is saying, hey, a part of us wants to be grounded, a part of us wants to be structured, but I'm also desiring this freedom, and I'm feeling disconnected, and I'm feeling like I'm in a bit of a daze, I'm in a bit of a dream world, right? So again, your challenge is going to be finding that balance between allowing yourself to flow freely in spirit energy and flow freely in your daydreams and flow freely in your visions and your clairvoyance and elevate in your spiritual gifts, while also finding having the desire to kind of remain grounded and deeply connected to reality, right? So that will be one of the difficulties you have during this time. Now, I'm going to tell you, conjunct with this full moon in the same sign of Pisces is going to be Saturn retrogrades. That Saturn just stationed retrograde back in Pisces. It was in Aries for a while. It just returned back to Pisces. Now, when we have Saturn retrograde in Pisces, oftentimes what that looks like is having a bit of difficulty with those boundaries with spirit, those boundaries with like wanting to kind of disconnect and remain grounded, right? The lines are kind of blurred for you. The lines between spirit and physical are kind of blurred for you. So I'm going to heavily advise that you all make a high priority intention of really checking in with your mental wellness, checking in with the here and now, staying present and practicing mindfulness. You will need to increase your mindfulness. You will need to increase your practice of being in the here and now. Connecting with spirit is going to be easy during this time. As we say, the veil is thin, and the veil is going to be super thin during this full moon in Pisces, because we also have the total lunar eclipse, right? Again, there are layers. I told y'all in the beginning, there are layers to this energy, baby. Layers to this energy, okay? So we have the full moon ruled by Yemoja. It's peaking on Yemoja Feast Day. We also have this opposition of the sun and Mercury. We have this conjunction of Saturn retrograde, but we also have the total lunar eclipse. Now, the total lunar eclipse is happening, of course, September 7th. The evening of September 7th, early September 8th. You have to check your location. People have been asking me what time. You have to research the location. The eclipse will be visible in North America and South America, but you have to check the visibility time depending on where you live, of course. Now, anytime we have a total lunar eclipse, what's happening is the sun, the earth, and the moon are in perfect alignment, and the earth will cast a full shadow over the moon, and this will end up looking like a blood moon, which is what's behind me. So the moon will look red. Blood moons are known for being aligned with the energy of rebirth, transformation, and karmic cleansing. The reason I said that you want to be sure about collecting some moon water during this blood moon, during this total lunar eclipse, is because that moon water is going to be super powerful anytime you're doing a transformation working, a transition working, anytime you're doing any type of karma work, karmic cleansing working, karmic cleansing working. Anytime you're doing anything centered around a reset, you're trying to manifest a move in your life, you're trying to manifest a change or transition in your career, right? You're trying to manifest a change or transition in a relationship, you will be able to use this blood moon lunar eclipse water for that, right? So this is why you really want to be sure to do that. And the reason why you want to make sure that you are getting storm water or hurricane water is because those two waters, storm water and hurricane water, are in alignment with change and transition. If you can go to the ocean and you can get some ocean water, get that as well. But you want to put that water in a glass jar, preferably, but any vessel of your choice. Some people have their favorite like moon water vessels, but you want to put it in a jar and sit that water outside. It does not have to be directly in the moon. The energy is present, right? So some people have been saying like, well, I'm not in alignment with the moon. I can't see the moon. It doesn't matter if you can't see it. It doesn't matter if you can't see the lunar eclipse. The energy is present, right? It's about the energy. You will experience the energy of the eclipse. So you want to sit it outside that night and bring it in before the sun comes up the next day, okay? Bring it in before the sun comes up the next day. That's going to be key. But again, those waters can be used for a variety of different things centered around dispelling, transformation, change, manifesting a move, karmic cleansing, head cleansing, foot washing. It also can be used as road openers as well. Okay, so that's super important. Now, I also have to add, as I was saying already, that the veil is going to be super thin because the full moon naturally elevates the tide. It elevates the energy of the water. This full moon is happening on Yemoja Feast Day. Yemoja will be highly getting honored and revered all around the world. A lot of offerings will be given to her. A lot of people will be calling upon her energy. So her energy will be super strong during this time. On top of that, the ancestral energy will be super strong, simply because this full moon is also known as the corn harvest moon. A lot of people have been getting it confused and calling it the harvest moon. This is not the harvest moon. The harvest moon is the full moon that's closest to autumn equinox. Autumn equinox is happening on September 22nd. I'll do another video about that. So the full harvest moon will be in October, the first full moon of October. But this is the start of harvest season because this is known as the corn harvest moon. Some people just say the corn moon for short. According to Indigenous Americans, Native Americans, this is the time where you would be able to harvest your corn. The corn was usually ready to harvest before everything else, right? So this is like the first harvest, the very beginning of harvest season. And it was believed that if the corn corn turned out well, if the corn harvested well, then all the other crops would be abundant and well. So the corn was really the indicator, right? Now, what was also done was once the corn was harvested, they would put out corn as offering to the ancestors, to the spirits, to help elevate the energy of the rest of the harvest and expedite the growth of the rest of the harvest. So if the corn turned out good, we are grateful, spirit, we are grateful, ancestors, and we are giving you this offering with the intent that you will elevate the rest of our harvest and make the rest of our harvest just as abundant. So this is why ancestor energy is elevated during this time, because this is the start of harvest season, right? Again, those first peaks of harvest are coming through. That glimpse of what your harvest will look like is coming through. So what I heavily advise during this time is that you elevate your ancestor reference, right? Be mindful and acknowledge when you get random blessings, because they will come. The beautiful thing about this blood moon energy, this corn moon energy, is that it's known for bringing sudden changes and transformations, especially because of that lunar eclipse energy, which is heavily in alignment with change and transformation. What you want to be sure to do is be on the lookout for those sudden transitions and transformations in the form of sudden blessings. A lot of people, when they think of transformation and transition, they only think of like deaths, right? And that's not the only way that transitions and transformations happen. That's why earlier I kept saying manifesting a move, a transition in the form of a move, a transition or transformation in the form of a new job. Transformations and transitions comes in the form of blessings. So you have to acknowledge when you get a transition blessing, when you get a transformation blessing, and be sure to put out some offering to your ancestors in gratitude, with gratitude, right? To say thank you for the peak of what my harvest will look like. So I don't care if you get an extra dollar, don't be afraid to put a coin on that ancestor offering, right? On that ancestor altar. I don't care if all you get is some corn. Put that corn out, right? So, in honor of the energy of this corn harvest, I heavily advise that you utilize the corn, connect with the energy of the corn, which is an abundance crop, right? And this could be done by making some corn soup, some corn chowder, some corn bread, frying some fish, using some cornmeal, making some corn porridge or some grits, right? And make sure that you put a little bit out for the ancestors in honor of their energy, right? Really deeply connect with the corn and utilize the corn with spiritual intention of gratitude and manifestation, right? Gratitude of abundance of your harvest coming, because that is what Indigenous Americans did, Native Americans did, and many of our ancestors did, right? So keep that in mind as well. Now, I think I touched on almost everything. I know there's one more thing I want to touch on before I get there. I wanted to make sure I touched on the conjunction. We also, I didn't speak on this. We also have this full moon in Pisces squaring Uranus, which will be in Gemini. Uranus is our planet of innovation, right? The interesting thing about that square of Uranus and Gemini, innovation, as well as a global technology. Squares can bring us challenges, but those challenges are meant to like turn us within and things that we need to work on, right? To be well in this energy. You have to really tap into being innovative when it comes to your spiritual life, your spiritual connection, how you look and view spirituality and your spiritual gift. For a lot of people, especially because the veil is going to be thin, your spiritual gift may elevate and open up and show itself in ways that you haven't experienced it before, right? So you may be a person who you are used to having the gift of sight, but all of a sudden your clairsentience picks up and you're getting a lot of sensations and feelings. You may be a person who you're only used to being an empath, right? And I'm an empath, I can feel emotionally, but all of a sudden I'm hearing and I'm getting these spiritual downloads and I'm experiencing this audience, right? So you may be challenged, especially because this full moon in Pisces is conjunct with Saturn retrograde in Pisces, meaning that we will force to be uncomfortable in a lot of different ways, and especially when it comes to our spiritual life. You may be challenged with having to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So if your spiritual gift shows up in a unique way, don't be afraid. You have to embrace it and get comfortable with this new form of gift or how this gift is showing up, right? I also have to acknowledge that Jupiter, our planet of expansion and wisdom, is trining this full moon, this blood moon, this lunar eclipse. Now, the beautiful thing about this trine, and Jupiter is in Cancer, right, which is another water sign, all about emotion and that divine feminine energy. The beautiful thing about this trine is that we have to be aware of this revelation energy that full moons can bring, right? It's not going to, of course, it's going to pull at the emotions. Your emotions will likely be elevated during this time. That's okay. It's not going to be something that is going to drain you, depress you, right? So you will feel more emotionally connected. You will feel a lot of your emotions, like, you know how it's funny because the language we use for kids now is like, you have big feelings, right? You may find yourself having very big feelings, and that's normal, especially when we have Jupiter, our planet of expansion, in Cancer, which is a part of that emotion energy, that water energy. Don't be surprised if you find yourself feeling these big feelings, but that wisdom energy, that philosophy energy of Jupiter is going to kind of help ground you in the lessons of it, right? So a lot of lessons that you will get coming up from the past, you may find yourself kind of reflecting on the past quite a bit, reflecting on old relationships and the good times, even relationships that have ended. You may find yourself reflecting on the good times and feeling a lot of strong emotions, maybe even some grief, but it will be much easier for you to kind of extract the lessons from that and move forward in the energy, right? So this lunar eclipse is going to be the time where we get to practice that karmic cleansing in the form of reflecting on old relationships, extracting the lessons, and moving forward with wellness, right? So kind of cleansing us of the grief from those old relationships, cleansing us of the grief of what we think we have lost, and we'll realize it hasn't been a loss at all. So you'll be able to reflect on the good times, acknowledge the good times, feel a bit of that grief of that loss, but quickly extract the lessons, gain from wisdom from it, and move forward and realize that it's not a loss anymore. Okay. So that's how that full moon Jupiter trine will kind of work together and maybe tug at your emotions a little bit. All right. Now, I think I touched on everything in that area. I want to run through the energy impact real quick. I talked about the increased daydreaming, as well as I put destiny seeking, but remember I talked about the daydreaming and the having the visions of what's to come. It's important to acknowledge that North Node is also in Pisces, right? So North Node is all about our destiny. So when I kept saying in the beginning, like, a lot of people are going to have an increase in the gift of sight, an increase in the knowing of what's to come, it's because of that North Node energy. It's because a lot of your future, a lot of your destiny, a lot of what's to come is going to be revealed to you right now. And when it starts happening, you'll remember this time, and everything is going to start to feel like deja vu. When your destiny starts manifesting before you, it's going to feel like deja vu, because you're getting glimpses of what it's supposed to look like, or what it's going to look like right now. When, for a lot of people, your next steps in your passions, your next steps in your purpose is going to be revealed to you right now. So the revelations from this full moon in Pisces is going to be good. It's going to be revelations about your future, about your next steps, about what you should be doing, things to look forward to. That's going to be good. Increased dreams, so pay attention to your dreams as well. Okay. I talked about the major revelations and sudden transformations, especially in politics. All right. But I was telling the wellness community yesterday, right? Like, yes, anytime we have lunar eclipses, it's going to bring changes and transformations, especially in politics, right? But I don't want y'all to engage in that. I always tell you, be aware, observe, but do not engage. Do not become enthralled. Do not let them have too much of your energy. Be aware from what's going on, but I want you to emotionally, spiritually, physically detach, right? But you will see those sudden transformations and transitions happen heavily, heavily, heavily in politics, but also in everybody's personal life. Increased reflection and reminiscing on the past. I just talked about that. Increased spiritual energy, presence, and communication through clairaudience. I talked about that already as well. Deep connection and call to the water and water energies. And I talked about that with the Yemoja Feast day as well. But I also heavily advise that you connect to all of the water energies, right? Connect to Olokun and study Olokun. Study Mami Walter as much as you can. Study the sirens, study the mermaid energies, right? Like, study the variety variety of different water energies and build a deeper relationship with water. This is also a good time to practice divination, right? So water divination is a form of divination. So I'm going to give y'all some herbs later on to enhance your divination powers and divination abilities. But as I keep telling y'all, the veil is thin, right? There's going to be a lot more spiritual communication. There's going to be an increase of spiritual connection. This is a good time to tap into that divination energy and really practice your coin divination. Utilize your cards, utilize your pendulums, utilize the water, do your flame divination. You can also just use your natural spiritual gifts of mediumship or however you choose to connect with spirit. It's up to you, but it will be much easier to do that during this time. Okay. Um, Another thing I think is important, I'm moving to the what to do's, is to assess your relationship with sacrifice. What's interesting about blood moons specifically is that they usually call us to shed. They usually call us to detox. They usually call us to release and sacrifice things that we once deeply loved that's no longer connected to us and no longer serving us. So I want you to assess your relationship with sacrifice, right? Because oftentimes when we think about releasing, it's easy to say, and very normal to say, release what no longer serves you. But what we all have to realize is that sometimes what's no longer serving you is something that you still deeply have an attachment and a connection to. And that's when it becomes a sacrifice, right? That's when it becomes a sacrifice. You can even think about this in the form of like ebos, right? And how during ebo, what's usually sacrificed to the Orisha or to the energy that's receiving the sacrifice are animals that's aligned with their energy, animals that they appreciate and that they love, right? You think about the Bible, Abraham was told to sacrifice his beloved son, right? He didn't have to, but he was told to show that. So I want you to assess your relationship with sacrifice. What is your relationship with detaching from things that you feel a deep love and connection to, but you have to let it go because it's not serving your wellness, right? Or it's not aligned with your next level. What is your relationship with sacrifice in that way? So heavily assess that, because some of those things, the blood moon will call you to shed. The blood moon will call you to sacrifice and release things that you still deeply love, but they're just not aligned with where you're trying to go. And sometimes it's people. Sometimes to get to our next level, we have to release people that we deeply love and we deeply value, but they are just not aligned with where we are trying to go. And that is okay. Thank y'all for the love offerings. I'm seeing the love offerings come through and I appreciate y'all dearly. I'm going to try to remember to shout all of y'all out by name at the end of the live. Okay. I really appreciate that. And may it be abundantly, abundantly, abundantly returned unto you. I appreciate the love. But I wanted y'all to really be intentional about that, assessing your relationship with sacrifice. And I'll give y'all a journal prompt for that toward the end. Also, I advise that you study karma. Study karma and identify the practice of cleansing and clearing your karma through transcending your karma, transmuting your karma. There are multiple ways, right? For those of you who want a resource or a reference, I heavily advise Deepak Chopra's book, 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. I really, 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 really love his breakdown and explanation of karma and how to cleanse and clear your karma, right? Blood moons call for us to cleanse and clear our karma. Blood moons call for us to assess our relationship with karma. So it offers us an opportunity to release any karmic debt that we may have. And there's multiple ways that you can clear your karmic debt. So definitely read the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And even if you just want to skip to the karma chapter, skip to the karma chapter, because it's definitely worth it and will give you more clarity on that. I appreciate the love, low key MJ. Thank you. And I saw somebody asked, you sent a love offering via the YouTube, a super chat, and you asked like what type of chime. I'm always a fan of copper chimes, steel chimes, the medicine, copper or iron, right? Copper, iron, steel. I'm not a big fan of wooden chimes. I like them. But the sound, I'm gonna just say the sound that I'm hearing, as far as like when spirit is telling me that this is how they're going to be communicating, is not the wooden chime sound. It's the copper, it's the iron, it's the steel. feel. It's the metal chime. So I would advise getting some type of metal chime, okay? But if you feel led to the wood, then you go ahead and you get the wood, okay? But follow your own spirit. But I'm just hearing the metal sound, right? And again, that could be just for me, but of course I have to share that with the collective. When I'm divining for myself, I divine for myself. But when I ask spirit, like, well, what do you want me to teach the collective? What do you want me to talk about? And it comes up for the collective, I share it for the collective. So this is me sharing that with the collective. Now, the third thing to do, find balance. I talked about this already. Find balance between staying grounded in reality and deeply connected with the spirit realm. And I talked about that with that opposition between the sun and the full moon in Pisces, total lunar eclipse. The fourth thing, write down your very vivid dreams. And now, I say this all the time, but I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it again. And let me shout out the folks, especially in the wellness community, who are already doing a step of this, right? Because people will often ask, and not just in the wellness community, but like, comments on my Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, they'll say, I dreamed about this. I dreamed about this. What does this mean? I'm going to tell y'all, first off, Neptune is retrograde, right? In Aries, fire sign, shifting to back to Pisces soon, right? But right now it's retrograde in Aries. So that fire sign, that fire energy, I mentioned to y'all when I talked about that, you will have super intense dreams. You may find yourself tossing and turning. Well, now we have the full moon in Pisces, ruled by Neptune, also a lunar eclipse happening in Pisces, ruled by Neptune. We have to be very aware that our dreams will be super intense. Instead of asking other people what your dream means, I want you to sit with your dream. I want you to write down your very vivid dreams in a dream journal, and shout out to the tribe, because a lot of people in the wellness community have been doing a brilliant job at this. Write down your dreams in the dream journal. But then I want you to extract the lessons from the dream. Instead of looking for the meaning, what is the meaning? What is this dream trying to tell me about the future? Or what does this animal symbolize? I want you to look at the dream as a story. What is the lesson? Like you're reading a story, because I think that sometimes that leads to people over analyzing, right? I feel like a lot of folks are over analyzing their dreams, right? Over analyzing, you're overthinking it. You have to get back to the basics. A lot of times you are missing the point of the dream because you are looking for the symbol of the beetle, the symbol of the spider that was on the window. I saw the number 3 and I want to know what the 3 means. And you're right. All of those things have meaning as well. But what is the overall theme of the dream? What is the major lesson of the dream? What are some of the sub lessons or the smaller lessons in the dream? Because that may actually be what spirit is trying to tell you, right? I was telling the community that one thing I know for sure is that when it's meant for you to know something, you will know it. You will know it. But sometimes I think that we overcomplicate spirituality. We overcomplicate our spiritual relationship. Sometimes spirit is making it very plain. And it's not until you write down that dream and you read it back like a story that you kind of realize that, oh, this was the lesson, and this is another lesson, and this is another lesson. But while it's all in your head and you're just remembering the big symbols and you're focused on looking at this deep symbolism, sometimes you're missing the obvious, make it plain lesson that spirit is trying to give you. So I gave the wellness community an example of this. I want to say like last week or the week before, I had a very vivid dream. And I shared it with them. Like I had woke up that morning and I wrote it all down. I said, hey, y'all, I had a super intense dream. Here's some things that happened with the dream. And then at the end, here are the lessons from it, right? Because I knew that as people were reading about my dream, they would be looking for the symbolism. But no, I wanted to show them that like, hey, y'all, sometimes it's just very plain. It's very plain, right? Just look at the lessons. These are some of the lessons, and this is what I'm walking away from it, right? Like what I'm learning from it. This is the lesson. So I want y'all to practice that as your dreams are intensified during this time. I want you to practice deeply, deeply, deeply writing those dreams down, extracting the lesson from it, and then moving forward. Moving forward, shout out to Chase. My ring just flew off because my fingers are so petite. My fingers are so petite that my ring flew off. Because the fingers is so petite, you know. But shout out to Sage. Sage asked a good, that's Sage, excuse me, Chase. Chase asked a good question the other day of like, how do you differentiate between having a spiritual gift and a mental health concern? Like, how do you know when it's getting to a mental health concern or kind of avoid that in a way, right? And what I explained was, I said, hey, listen, I don't obsess. I don't obsess. And I heavily advise everyone to do that. Do not obsess. When you have a dream, when you have a spiritual communication, when you have some clarity, do not obsess about it, right? Have the dream, write the dream down, extract the lesson, move forward. You have a clear audience experience, right? Where you heard from spirit. Cool. What did they say? Extract the lesson, move forward. Do not obsess. Do not obsess about the bubbles in the water. Do not obsess about whether the food is being received. Do not obsess. Do not obsess. Do not obsess. You have to know how to detach. And this is where the 7 spiritual laws comes in handy again, right? Because one of the spiritual laws is the law of detachment, right? And Deepak Chopra talks about that, like how to practice the law of detachment and the value of doing that. I heavily advise that y'all read that chapter as well. You have to know how to detach and move forward. Again, during this full moon, with that opposition of the sun, a lot of people will have to find the balance between that Pisces energy and that Virgo energy, that Pisces spirituality, spirit realm energy, and that Virgo earth stay grounded energy, right? So try to find that balance and what that balance looks like for self. And I already talked about the last thing to do, which was to practice the water divination. I talked about that. Practice of water divination through inserting vibration, studying vibration patterns in the water, connecting with the energies of the water portal work, and water cleansing. And shout out to Anita Kolpax. Remember, I did the interview with Anita Kolpax, who's the author of the book, The Wind on Her Tongue, which was a wellness community read many moons ago at this point, y'all. And me and her were having a discussion, and I asked her, like, what are one of your favorite practices, a practice that you would love to share for the tribe? And she talked about using water as a portal, right, to be able to connect with other dimensions. So go back to that interview. I believe I time-stamped that part, but that's what I was referring to when I talked about using water as a portal. This is also a good time for spiritual baths as well, okay? Of course, any type of water work is going to be good. Now, before I get to journal prompts, I want to talk about, and I'm going to do a short on this for my TikTok and Instagram, but while I'm here, I want to talk about this. I already have a video about when you have your cycle, and as a woman, you know, when you have your menstrual cycle, what should you be doing when you get your cycle at every moon phase? Full moon, new moon, waxing, waning. What should you be doing? What are the best things to do during that time? I need you to understand that with a lunar eclipse, blood moon, if you are on your cycle, this is the perfect time to add your blood to your moon water, right? Especially if you are going to use it for manifesting changes, transitions, transformations, dispelling work. This is also a good time where you want to detox the body. And that's for everybody, whether you are on your cycle or not, but definitely for those who are on their cycle, detox the body for during this time, okay? This is also a good time where you want to make your tinctures and your medicines for dispelling, right? So as I said in that video, and I'll repeat again because I feel like a lot of people miss this portion. When it comes to medicine making, right? Medicine work, herbalism, there are 2 types of healing that you do. You can heal by adding something to the body, and you can heal by dispelling or purifying the body of something, right? This is the time where you want to make your dispelling medicines, where you want to make your detoxing, your purifying medicines. This is that time, okay? So if you are on your cycle, your ability to do this is intensified during this time, okay? So you absolutely want to practice that. Be super intentional about that during this time, making your medicines and your tinctures to purify and cleanse the body, okay? Also, wormwood is a good natural detoxifier. It's a dewormer. So that's going to be something that's good to consume during this time. It's also good for dispelling and purification work. Your power and your energy is intensified. So this is a good time to detox and cleanse your home, to purify the energy of your home, okay? Now let's do these journal prompts. Let me get my water, and we're going to do these journal prompts, crystals, and herbs. I said, let me get my water. I forgot I made lemon water. I had to look down. I was like, what is this? I made some lemon water. I don't know if y'all can see the lemon bits floating in here. I was like, what? I was like, what is that floating in my water? It's me. It's me. But that's one of the ways that I'm detoxing is lemon water. Okay. So I like to, as you can see by how cloudy it is, I like to use well, cloudy looking to me. You can still kind of see through it a little bit, but I like to use a lot of lemons in my lemon water, fresh lemons, just cut them up, lemons, and I do 1 lime as well. But I like to squeeze them. And I like the pulp. I'm a pulpy girl, not too much though, okay? But I'm a pulpy girl. So I just get a bottle of water, open it up, squeeze some lemons and 1 lime in there. And that is one of the ways that I like to cleanse and detox. If you need it a little sweeter, you can add agave, you can add honey. Some people do honey lemonade, but agave, stevia, something like that, and turn it into like a lemonade type of thing. But you are going to need quite a few lemons. It needs to be dark. It needs to look like lemonade. It needs to be pretty dark so that you can make sure that you are getting that full, strong lemon power. Okay. Make sure it's really, really cleansing the system. But that's a good way. Chlorophyll is good. I like chlorophyll in the water. That's a good natural detoxifier. Okay. Chlorophyll is really good. What if it doesn't rain outside during this time to make the moon water? Then you can just use regular water. It's fine. You can use spring water. You can use distilled water. The thing is, if you use rainwater, if you plan on drinking it, because you can drink moon water, of course. If you plan on drinking it, you need to boil it, right? So I don't know if y'all study chemtrails and things like that, but if you're going to drink your moon water, you need to boil it. But if you plan on using it in a working or something like that, then you don't have to boil the rainwater. But I always just heavily advise using any type of natural spring water. Water can be manipulated to any kind of work you're looking to do. Yes, it's just about aligning it with the intention and under the right planetary alignment. So this specific planetary alignment is for dispelling, purification, karmic cleansing, road opening, things like that. That's this with the lunar eclipse, with the full moon. That's what this planetary alignment is good for. Okay. Let me go up. I want to see if I don't start asking questions. I just want to see if I missed any other questions before. Okay, blissfully evolving said, when setting up the altar for veneration, will adding corn, water, blue and white candles and adding a bell or a chime to my altar be good for connecting to my ancestors for Yemoja, harvest moon, and eclipse? Yes, those will all be good for that. Okay. How do you become aware that you are dreaming and become mindful of the conversations you're having so not to lose out on blessings? Let me read that again. How do you become aware that you are dreaming and become mindful of the conversations you're having so not to lose out on a blessing? How do you become aware that you are dreaming in conversations in the dream? Is that what you're asking? How do you become? I'm like, are you trying to balance the dreams with conversations you're having in physical reality, or like in on earth, like grounded here, or conversations you are having in the dream? If you're talking about conversations you're having in the dream, my biggest thing is to be aware of what was the conversation about, right? Like, what was the lesson of the conversation? You know, what was the intention of the conversation? What was the energy around the conversation? And extract that. Okay, so that's something to consider. How do you use ocean? How do you use ocean water? Ocean water can be used to make moon water as well. This is the biggest thing with understanding ocean water, right? And what ocean water is used for. Ocean water is deeply connected with multiple different energies, with Yemoja, with Olokun, with Mami Water. There's multiple energies that dwell in the ocean, right? In various layers of the ocean, that energy, right? So ocean water can be used in a variety of different ways. It's just about what is your intent and when are you collecting it. This is the biggest thing with water, as I said earlier. You have to study the planetary alignment when you are connecting with that water energy, right? Study the planetary alignment so you can know how to use that water and when it's best used for. I have a whole video on water and moon water and what phases of the moon that you should gather the water for and what that water can be used for during that time. I have a whole video on that, but that's going to be the biggest thing. When it comes to where you collect the water from, what you have to remember is that everything returns to the ocean. So the ocean is like universal water energy. Everything returns to the ocean. Shout out to Yeye Louisa Tish, who's the author of Jambalaya. I asked her the question the other night. I said, because she's a priestess of Oshun of many decades now, probably close to 30 years. And I asked her, how would you describe the relationship other than mother and daughter, right? How would you describe the relationship between Oshun and Yemoja? And what she said is that the rivers return to the ocean, right? The rivers return to the ocean. So we have to remember that the ocean is that universal energy, right? The rivers are deeply aligned, of course, with Oshun, but that ocean energy is a combination of all of it, right? So ocean water can be used for a variety of different things, okay? Now let me move to the journal prompts, y'all, before we be on here for a month of Sundays. I'll be on here next week talking to y'all, huh? Let's get to the journal prompts. First journal prompt: what does balancing self and the roles you have in other people's life look like for you? What does balancing self and the roles you have in other people's life look like for you? And this is the second part. What would a daily schedule of this balance look like? And shout out to the wellness community, because some of these journal prompts y'all already have. I posted some of them when I did our intention for the month, Soulfully Selfish September. I posted the journal prompts there, right? But so y'all will have some of these, but some of them are new to everyone, including the wellness community. I'm gonna read that again. Journal prompt 1. What does balancing self and the roles you have in other people's life look like for you? What would a daily schedule of this balance look like? Okay. Journal prompt number 2. What are topics that you are passionate about and could discuss incessantly? And this is all about identifying your passion, right? And y'all, I didn't tell y'all this, but I was telling the community that when it comes to understanding your passion, right, it's important to understand that when you are passionate about something, it's what you deeply desire to do, and it brings you a lot of enthusiasm. It makes you feel enthusiastic. You get excited every time the topic comes up. You want to talk about it. When you see a documentary come out about it, you want to watch it. Like, you get super duper excited about it, right? So what are the topics that you are passionate about and could discuss incessantly, nonstop, all the time? The third journal prompt: what is your definition of sacrifice? Do you think sacrifice is necessary to manifest your destiny? If so, what are you willing to sacrifice? And this is all about that full moon release energy. What are you willing to sacrifice? If not, why? I'm going to read it again. What is your definition of sacrifice? Do you think sacrifice is necessary to manifest your destiny? If so, what are you willing to sacrifice? If not, why? Okay. The fourth journal prompt: what holistic practices help you to stay grounded in reality and deeply connected in spirit realm? What holistic practices help you stay grounded in reality and still deeply connected to spirit realm? And that's up to you to decide. What does that look like for you? What practices help you find that balance between that Pisces spirit realm energy, daydreaming, spiritual gifts, spirit talking and walking, right? And staying grounded in that sun, that Virgo energy, right? And staying grounded and present in the here and now. I will simply say, for me, mindfulness, 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 mindfulness. And I was telling the community that one of the ways that I balance the two worlds is that I stay present in the here and now. And what keeps me present in the here and now is I am mantras, is praying while I'm doing things, right? So like when I'm mopping the floor, in order to stop myself from thinking about what's to come or thinking about something that happened in the past, in order to help me stay mindful and present in the here and now, while I'm mopping the floor, I'm praying over my house. Right? As I'm mopping the floor, I'm praying over my house, or as I'm in the shower and I'm cleansing my body to stop me from thinking about the future or disassociating or daydreaming too much, right? Or being in the clouds. I stay present in the here and now by speaking I am mantras over myself while I'm cleansing, right? So that's one of my practices. But what are the practices for you that help you stay grounded in the here and now, but still connected to spirit at the same time, right? And the fifth and final journal prompt: what limiting beliefs do you need to release that can help you elevate in your personal passions? What limiting beliefs do you need to release that can help you elevate in your personal passions? What limiting beliefs do you need to let go of so that you can elevate in your personal passions? And that's going to be a part of your full moon release. And once you write those down, you can practice the burning ceremony. I have a whole video on how to do that as well, right? So you could just type the Queen Po burning ceremony, the Queen Po burning or release, and it should pop right up for you. I think I have on red in that video. Now crystals and herbs, and let me just be clear. I have over 500 videos on my channel. I've been teaching for a long time on YouTube. I've been consistent. Shout out to consistency, right? Remember, community, I talked about y'all. I talked to y'all about like when something is really your passion, it's easy to be consistent in it because it brings you joy and enthusiasm, right? Like I love talking about wellness. I love talking about spirituality. I love talking about mental health. It's so a part of my natural life that it's easy for me to be consistent in what I do because it's just who I am, right? Now, the thing about that is I have over 500 videos. So a lot of the questions that people ask me, you'll hear me say, I have a video on that already. I have a video about the moon water already. I have a video about the ego. I have a video about the mind. I have a video about trust. I have a video about detachment. I have a video about limiting beliefs. I have a video about release ceremonies, right? I have a whole video about dispelling. I have a video about how to recognize that there's a negative energy in your home. I have a video about how to manifest money, abundance rituals, this, that, right? I have all of these videos. Simply just go on YouTube and type the topic of your question and a video will pop up. So you could type the Queen Po water and videos will pop up. You could type the Queen Po abundance, video will pop up. The Queen Po dispel, the video will pop up. The Queen Po whatever, ego, trust, detachment, the videos will pop up because I do recognize that searching through over 500 videos can feel overwhelming. So instead of trying to scroll the channel and search, just type my name in and the topic that you're looking for, and the video should pop up. The Queen Pot for myself, because for the community, I was making a list of some videos that they should watch before we start Spirits Come From Water next week. And I typed the Queen Po Christianity. 3 videos that I've made about African spirituality and Christianity and the relationship between the two popped up, right? So you could type the Queen Po Christianity and it should come up. If I'm already steeping some tinctures, would placing them outside during the blood moon increase their transformative properties? 1,000%. 1,000%. If you have any herbs for dispelling, any tinctures for dispelling, any herbs for transformation and change or divination or anything like that, this is the time you want to put them outside to infuse them with some of this blood moon energy, this lunar eclipse energy. All of that you can put outside. Your crystals for transformation, change, dispelling, protection, put outside during this time, right? Anything that you want to elevate that transformation, transition, dispelling, divination energy in, put it outside right now. If I was a tarot card reader, I would put my cards outside under this blood moon. If I had a pendulum that I use for divination, I would put my pendulum outside during this blood moon. Anything that you want to put outside, anything that you want to elevate that energy in alignment with this blood moon, put it outside under this moon, but bring it in before the sun comes up. So what I recommend doing is setting your alarm for 4:30 a.m. And that way you're up during spirit hours. You can go outside, get it, say your prayer, and go right back to bed, right? So 4:30 a.m., set your alarm and go gather your things, bring it in, or 5:30 a.m. You got to just check to see where the sun comes up during this time. I appreciate the love, Deanna. Thank you. Okay, crystals and herbs, y'all. Let's do this. The first crystal, so I want to be very clear, right? Because I talked about this Pisces energy and how it's heavy intuitive energy. So all of these crystals and herbs I'm giving y'all is in alignment with increasing and enhancing your intuition, because I really want y'all to be able to utilize this veil is thin energy, right? I want you to be able to utilize this opportunity to elevate in your spiritual gift. Okay, so the first one is going to be aquamarine. Aquamarine is great for Pisces energy, and it's all about intuition and dream work. Aquamarine. Moonstone. Moonstone is about increased intuition. Sodalite. Sodalite is about clear spiritual, emotional, and physical communication. Right. So lapis lazuli is a good for opening up and balancing the throat chakra for physical communication. But sodalite is good for spiritual communication and helping you have a clear, open channel for spiritual communication. I saw somebody, can you make a YouTube video on microdosing as a spiritual practice? If you are, so you should join the wellness community, Desiree. I talk about microdosing, shrumerizations quite often over there. I also I work with a company specifically for that. A lot of people in the tribe have tried it. They love it. I love it. I've done unboxings. They've observed me have a full trip over there, right? And we have engaged during some trips and things like that. We talk about that over there. The reason I don't talk about that a lot here on YouTube or on I did one video on my IG about it, is because it's still not legal everywhere. It's still not legal. Okay. And a lot of places it's a class 1. It's like promoting cocaine. Okay. So you can't talk about that type of stuff. Like even the company that I was working with, their Instagram page keeps getting taken down. Right. So that's the only downside. Right. So I don't talk about that a lot on these platforms because they'll snatch your stuff. You know what I'm saying? For talking about those things too much. But you'll because I know somebody's probably like, well, they be advertising it, but there's different types of shrumerizations. The ones that are advertised are like your earthy health shrooms, right? Like your lion's heart and things like that, right? Lion's mane, those things. I said lion's heart, your lion's mane and things like that, right? Like those are the ones that they will advertise. But when it comes to like the going on a trip on my favorite rocket ship, zooming through the sky, when it comes to those, they snatching videos down about that and whole pages, Instagram pages down about that. So we can't talk about that too much over there. But join the wellness community, honey. Okay. And I got a little discount code that you can use over there on the website to get you some good ones. Okay. But aquamarine, moonstone for increased intuition, sodalite for clear communication. And the fourth one is fluorite for clarity. Fluorite for clarity. And then the last one is bloodstone for transformation and protection during transition, spiritual travel, traveling realms, right? Okay. You said what? Code name moon trips. I like that. Code name moon trips. That's good. That's good. Running through them again. Aquamarine, moonstone, sodalite, fluorite, bloodstone. Herbs. Now, all of these herbs, I'm going to tell you, all of these herbs are going to be good to add to a spiritual bath to enhance your divination abilities. But also you can add them to your moon water. Okay. So anytime you are feeling a spiritual blockage, you're feeling like you're not dreaming like you used to, you're feeling like your pathways and your channels to connecting with spirit are kind of like dimmed, you can add these to your moon water and you can use the moon water to kind of open those roads and clear your path to divination. Okay. So burdock root. Burdock root is for cleansing and protection. Okay. And you can smudge that burdock root as well. You can also drink burdock root. It's a great blood cleanser and blood purifier. Rose. Rose is good for divination and feminine energy. I like having rose in my windowsill. And I'm talking about like making spirit water, moon water. So for me, during this time, if I were you and I didn't have I already got some, but if I didn't have any, I would get a jar, I would fill it with some purified water or some storm water. I would add some rose. I would add some lemon peel because lemon peel is for love energy, right? I would add some rose, some lemon peel, some rosemary for protection, and I would place it outside under this blood moon. And then I would just sit the jar at the window that's closest to my threshold. And that's a great way to welcome spiritual energy into your home, welcome love energy into your home, and to protect your home. Okay. But rose is really good for divination and divine feminine energy. Bladderwrack. I misspelled that on here. Let me change that. There we go. Bladderwrack for divination and transformation workings. Divination and transformation workings. And then I got to scroll back down. Hold on. Hibiscus for divination. Yes, hibiscus like sorrel, right? Hibiscus for divination and sandalwood for divination and protection. So once again, you can add all of these to a spiritual bath, or you can add them to your moon water and use it for a spiritual bath or a head wash later on. And what's always good to add to a head wash is coconut milk or coconut water. Okay. So burdock root, rose, bladderwrack, hibiscus, sandalwood. If you wanted to do a good head wash right now, instead of using water, or you could use coconut water, but you could do coconut milk or coconut water, add all of these herbs to it, and also a couple of bay leaves and some eucalyptus, and put that outside under this moon, right? To help cleanse, open up your connection to your Ori, help cleanse your head, cleanse the energy of your Ori. That would be a good way to do a head wash, right? You could also add some coffee grounds to that, okay? Some tobacco to that, and turn that into a foot and hand wash as a road opener. Okay. And you can set that outside. And again, you would use that as a hand and foot wash for a road opener. Okay. And I already talked about the bonus, which is to make some corn soup, chowder, corn salsa, cornmeal. Utilize the corn with the intention of honoring this harvest energy. Okay. Now I'm going to publish the notes for the wellness community. Family, I love y'all dearly. Remember that this full moon in Pisces peaks on September 7th. The total lunar eclipse will happen between the 7th and the 8th, depending on your location. But the shadow period starts tomorrow, September 4th, and will last until September 10th. So you have all of that time to really get your workings together, really assess how this energy is impacting you. Just be open to that Pisces daydreamy, floaty spiritual energy and spiritual communication. Get that wind chime if you can. But again, the main intention is to just be open, be open, be open. Okay, family? I love y'all dearly. Wellness community, I will see y'all tomorrow for our Soulful Conversation watch. And everyone else on YouTube, I will see y'all soon. Okay, happy full moon. Happy blood moon, right? This is what the moon will look like at the time of the total lunar eclipse. Really tap into this energy and enjoy this energy because it is for your wellness. It is for your wellness. What I love so much is that I truly feel like everybody is going to spiritually elevate during this blood moon. Okay, so y'all enjoy it. I love y'all dearly, and much peace and much wellness. Good night, y'all.